All right. All right, you all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another lesson, another blessing with yours truly, your domestic violence counselor, Mr. James Horton. All right. This evening is going to be a class, you guys, that I call 15 Feelings of Family. 15 Feelings of Family is what it's called. And I also would like to invite you to my YouTube channel. It's called Domestic Violence with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton. Domestic Violence with the Counselor. You can see it titled on the front of this desk here. So let's get started. All right, 15 Feelings of Family. It says this paper describes and defines 15 feelings of family. In most families, we all grow up with a host of feelings within the dynamics that may or may not have been taking place in one's family. In and within the family, there are many feelings that are positive for some of us, for some of our upbringing, and there are many other feelings that are not so positive that have a way of bonding to our development from childhood to adulthood. Ask yourself questions like, which feelings of these are most familiar? You know, we have different feelings that's familiar to us. And then we're going to go on to say there are many feelings that are not so familiar to us. We have a feeling, some of us possess a feeling of love. We've gotten love by mothers, grandmothers, communities, neighbors, and we've gotten a lot of love. And many of us have not gotten the feeling of love, so there's not so much familiar. I'm gonna kind of ask, to just look around at my pasting and my posting of this video, and you decide which ones would you pick up. I usually in groups ask people to pick up which ones are most familiar to you, or grab a hold to which ones that you see around the video that is most familiar to you that you've grown up with. We have others feelings of family like God, right? We got God, was God in your life? Did you grow up letting that a feeling of God, a feeling of a power outside of the house, outside of your family, inside the house, and all around you, in your heart? Did you grow up with that kind of feeling, or did you not grow up, or are you not so familiar with that sort of feeling? We have lies in the family, discouragement in the family, loneliness, encouragement, happiness, anger, violence, abuse, smart, right? Being smart. Was that a feeling that you got from your loved ones, your mama, your daddy, and there was encouragement of this kind of stuff, right? Abuse. Was abuse one of the feelings that you absorbed verbally and even physically? Did you grow up with abuse in your house? I did. I know what that's about, and it's not a good something to grow up with. It's not a good something for anybody to have to grow up with. So my heart goes out, and I pray to God for you if that was one of your issues. Violence is another feeling of family. Whether it was familiar or unfamiliar, and God bless those that there wasn't any violence in the home or around you, in your schools or anything like that. Security is another feeling. Successful, honesty, hope, and even abandonment, right? Abandonment is a strong, strong thing. It affects us. Most of these feelings affect us even now and into our adulthood. Like I had said in the reading, during your childhood on up to your adult development, right? These feelings have affected us in many ways, and we're acting them out in many relationships we have. Trying to get in relationships, wanting a relationship like we've seen others have, and not knowing how to express love because love may have never been shown to us. The abandonment issue has an issue to where we don't trust anybody. Many of us don't trust our partner because we think they're going to abandon us like mom and daddy and them did, right? So these are some things that we really, really want to work on. Maybe even see somebody on. Maybe even, watch free extra videos with your counselor here. I mean, these are some things you're like, why do I act like this? Well, go back Go back. Sometimes you got to dig up some stuff to clean up some stuff, right? And it's really, really important to look at you. We many times we saying it's the wrong partner that we pick. And we picking partners that might be wrong too because of our own issues, because of the familiarity within that partner, right? Things are familiar about them. They sort of act like the person that abandoned me. And we draw to some things that are familiar to us, right? So this is, again, it's called 15 Feelings of Family, right? 15 Feelings of Family. There were violence in the home. Mama and daddy now. Mama was fighting stepdaddy now. Mama was fighting the man she met at the corner liquor store and brought him home, and he was drunk when he got there. He had no money, he had nothing to offer, and who knows, maybe when she pulled his wallet out, the wallet was empty. So there was a fight there, right? Nobody cared or seemed to care about how the children were affected. But we were affected, and we are still affected many times because we have not worked on it. We've buried it, and burying it doesn't really bury it, right? It's still active. It's still active, and it's active in your behavior. And if you were to be able to have some film coverage of your childhood and compare it to your adulthood, you would see the similarities within your upbringing. You would see that it looks exactly like your childhood. Your relationships now with the opposite sex, with a partner, is almost a carbon copy of what we see here now in our lifestyle, right? Because we're performing, we're copycatting, right? We're replaying the movie, you know? And I often ask, I said, how many times are you going to keep watching your own rerun movie? It's a rerun movie of what Mama and them was doing, what the people who raised us were doing. And that's all we seem to know. But we can relearn and unlearn some of that stuff, right? So we can have a better life and a better future for ourselves and a safer future for our children, right? So that's going to be just a hit for now. Look over these things, these familiar families. Ask yourself which ones are most familiar to you and which ones are not so familiar to you, right? Learn how to love if you've never been loved. If you are a taker, learn to be a giver, right? Instead of taking things, give some stuff. Just give it unconditioned. Give it from your heart. Just practice on it. It can be natural after a while. Practice on it like you got into practice of copycatting the way Mama and them was dancing, right? The way Mama and them was acting, right? The way Mama and them did this and did that. You don't have to do it like that. You can relearn some stuff and get a new practice going, right? Don't be a copycat of everything, right? Take what's good and leave the rest behind. Leave the rest behind, because you don't have to be exactly like your father. You don't have to be exactly like your mama. If your mama was good and quality and all that, that's great. But still, create and carve out you, right? To make the best you can be, all right? That's going to be it for yours truly, the counselor. Again, check me out on my YouTube channel, Domestic Violence with the Counselor, Mr. James Horton. Thank you again for attending my group.